Hi, Grace. Can you share with us your name, pronouns, and a little introduction about yourself?
Hey, hi, Sumaya. My name is Grace Zhou. I go by she, her pronouns, and I'm currently a junior at the Burley School in Manhattan, New York.
ODAC wants to spotlight young people in our community and elsewhere and the incredible work they're doing. So, what kind of advocacy work are you currently involved in?
Great question. I'm currently working on an organ donation education initiative in New York that would hopefully integrate organ donation education in high school health courses, although we're now like looking to science courses, anywhere, where we can fit that invaluable education, we hope to do that. So yeah.
That's incredible. And what encouraged you to pursue this mission?
Yeah, I have a friend, well, she's now a friend, in Georgia. Her name is Sierra Pape, and we were connected through mutuals, and she was working on something really similar in her own state. The official name is the Teaching Organ and Tissue Donation Education and Saving Lives Initiative, which is like a mouthful. But she actually got her initiative passed in Georgia, and it's going into effect next fall. And she reached out to me, in an effort to spread this great cause to other states, more places around the country, basically. And I started researching organ donation, especially in New York, where donation consent rates are so low. And it was just such a great cause. I couldn't imagine, not acting on it. And yeah, and then from there everything snowballed, and now and now I'm here. Yeah.
The impact will for sure have no limits. And what does the standardized education plan about organ donation kind of look like at the high school level or other levels, if that might be a place this kind of initiative goes?
Yeah. I'm currently working with Greg Borman, who's the director of science with the New York Department of Education. And he actually has implemented lesson plans on organ donation. I'm not quite sure yet what it would look like, but certainly like in the next year, we hope to have like more definitive like, lesson plans that we can offer teachers. Mostly what I try to do is like fit all the pieces together instead of like, like focusing on like this like one like aspect, like what will the education look like specifically. I feel like that's something that one, I'm like not that qualified to like, build. And that's for organizations like ODAC. You guys are doing such great work with like actually coming up with education, plans. So yeah.
What kind of planning and collaboration goes into a mission like yours?
There's definitely a lot of communication that has to happen. I've emailed so many people like over the past few months, like so many, to the point where I feel like I might be a little annoying, but it's all for a great cause. And what I try to do is, one, bring awareness to like this like mission of, raising awareness actually in like other high schoolers like me. Um, and I try to get, leadership interested, like in the Department of Education, in state legislature, of course, like organ donation, like advocacy organizations like ODAC. And I also work closely with Elaine Perlman of Weightless Zero. She's amazing. I love Elaine so much. Um, and I basically just try to get everyone involved in the same initiative, and then from there, everyone has something different to offer that will all fit together and produce like this like amazing result, we hope. So yeah.
That's beautiful. And shout out to Elaine, such an incredible advocate.
She
Absolutely.
is, she is, yeah.
And what kind of challenges have you faced in your journey to incorporating this type of awareness into state education?
We faced quite a few obstacles. Um, but the most important part was just that we like learned how to adapt and like overcome them. Like for instance, when I was meeting with, the legislative directors of like state senators with an assemblywoman, we found that it was really hard to like come up with legislation that would be likely to like move or be active in like the New York legislative cycle because this is an education-centered bill. And the New York education system is structured in a way that more of the power is, invested in the individual school, the school boards. And so it's really, really hard to pass state initiative, like state education, like reform bills, because of that. But we eventually decided to just go straight through the Department of Education. And I started working with Greg Borman, who's the director of science. And yeah, that's our trajectory, like as of now. Hopefully, I'll be in touch with the Department of Civics soon and the Department of Health. Both like areas where organ donation could definitely be, education, like a unit plan, for instance. So yeah.
And so you started mentioning what the next steps kind of look like. Are there any else that you want to mention in terms of for the next year or so, how they might be implemented?
Aside from, the public school system, which is mainly what the initiative is like focused on now, since we are going through the New York Department of Education. I currently attend an independent school, and so we are not a part of that. And I really want to help like my own like school integrate this education. And hopefully, we can be an example for other independent schools. Like there's this consortium called like the Interschool, which is like, I don't know if you've heard of it, but it's like this like a group of 8 schools, my school included, Burley. And they work very closely together. They function very closely together. And I'm like really, really hopeful that if Burley sets an example, then the other schools will, like follow. And then eventually we can expand to this bigger organization of independent schools called NICES. I think that's how you pronounce it. And yeah, just it's a step-by-step process, of course. And there are a lot of like aspects to it, like the public, private, um, part. But in the end, I think the reach will be like, I mean, we hope to reach as many people as we can. So yeah.
Amazing. It definitely seems like you're targeting all different spheres, which is really important. And did it require a lot of research beforehand?
Yeah, actually, when I started this initiative, um, I knew very, very little about organ donation. Like shockingly little. And of course, once I was like in it, I did do research. I made like my nice presentations, like statistics, studies. I don't know if you've seen them, but I'm very proud. They look really nice. But there was a lot of research that went into it after I decided to get involved. Um, but I think that's part of the issue that we're trying to solve is that like that lack of, knowledge I had to begin with. My awareness level like should have been higher. I would have loved for it to have been higher. But it all like sort of like gradually like built up. It wasn't like I read everything and then like jumped in. It was like I started working and then as I learned a lot from, meeting people. So as I started like meeting with like, people like Odak or like Elaine, I met Ira Copperman, who I think you all at ODAC know, and his wife. Mr. Copperman's wife is a recipient, and just talking to her about her experience with organ donation, it it really like rounded out my knowledge. So yeah.
But that definitely does go to show that people can learn at any point in their lives and contribute to really important work. And I guess that kind of ties really well with YAM because, like, for Youth Advocacy Month, it's kind of going to showcase that there are youth who are participating in such grand, like, ideas and, like, tangible work. And it's kind of going to be intergenerational. Like, here you are working with adults, there's also elderly members of our community, and everybody has something to share at every age, which is really incredible. And kind of to tie in more with awareness, what are some misconceptions of organ donation that you've come across, and what are the most effective ways to dispel them?
What do you think? I think actually like the most common one that like at least my friends or like my peers have like brought up, there's like this fear that you're gonna get like reduced care. Like if you're like in an accident or you need some sort of like life-saving care from like a healthcare like professional or like a paramedic, that if you're an organ donor they're gonna be like, oh, like like why not just send these organs to other people. Like my my parents brought it up when I was talking to them about this. I was like, I had no idea you even like, yeah, I had no idea that it was like, such a widely spread misconception. But I think the best way to dispel it, of course, is through education. Yeah, through facts, like scientific facts. There's no way to like disprove that. So yeah.
What have been some of the most rewarding parts of your advocacy thus far?
Just meeting like everyone who's like so engaged and passionate about this cause. It's of course like a great cause to be involved in, to begin with. Like I'll bring in Elaine again. She's like so passionate. She is like so incredibly motivated and charismatic, and you can really see, like you can really tell when someone is like when someone really cares about something. And a lot of the people I've met along this like journey in the Organ Donation Education Initiative are like that. And it's just very inspiring. Yeah. And it makes it like really worth it. You're putting in all this effort to get, this initiative like, passed in New York. So yeah.
Earlier, you mentioned the word altruism, which I think really perfectly describes a lot of the work and the people in this community, is that they kind of care without any boundaries about others, in terms of their livelihood, their quality of life, which is really beautiful. And are there any particular aspects of organ donation that you want the general public to know more about that we might not have touched on yet?
I don't know. This might be not be like a super well formulated answer, but I'm also like very interested in like outside of the organ donation, just like like racial disparities, especially in healthcare. And I think that's something that's also like very prevalent, like in organ donation, and in like that like system of like, donors and recipients. Yeah, especially with like education, like if you want to be like the most efficient, like yeah, you should like target, the places that, really need that help, really need that information. Yeah. Just so everyone can have, of course, like equitable healthcare.
Yeah, most definitely. A lot of times when social determinants of health kind of come up in conversation about other areas of medicine, they kind of tie back also to organ donation because, as you said, racial disparities, income disparities can also impact care regarding this type of treatment as well. So things to keep in mind with like historical impact and how systems are run today for sure. Is there anybody or any organizations that you would like to give a shout out to?
ODAC, of course, giving a platform to all of these like very, very motivated advocates. I really appreciate like actually having the time to talk today about what I'm trying to do in New York. You guys are doing like such great work. I think I've shouted out Elaine at least like 5 times in the past like 10 minutes. So, Waitlist Zero. I work with Emma Young of UNOS, the United Network of Organ Sharing. She's amazing. She's so passionate about young people getting involved in this cause. So shout out Emma, shout out Emma. Sierra, of course, can't forget the girl who started it all. Everyone out there that is interested in this cause, they all deserve a shout out.
Thank you
Okay.
so much.
Thank you. Thank you.